Breaking at 2:14 p.m, Birmingham stopped being normal. A fire broke out at Holloway refugee facility on the outskirts of the city. Within 90 seconds, social media exploded. TikTok, Twitter, Telegram. Within 3 minutes, the first rumour landed. Migrants attacked locals. It wasn't verified. It didn't matter. By 1:40 p.m, 5 metro stations slammed shut simultaneously. Snow Hill, Ball Street, New Street, Corporation, 5 Ways. Thousands of commuters were trapped underground with nothing but their phones and unverified telegram messages spreading like wildfire through the tunnels. If you're watching this, you need to understand what just happened in Britain's second largest city, because this is the exact playbook for how modern crises spiral out of control in real time. This isn't about one fire or one day. It's about a system breakdown that can happen anywhere. If you haven't already, subscribe. We're going to break down exactly what went wrong and, more importantly, what it means for every city in Britain right now. By 1:52 p.m, the first police alert went out. Far too late. Clips labelled City in Chaos and Birmingham Burning had already racked up 800,000 views on TikTok alone. One video from the railway footbridge showed crowds flooding the roundabout in real time. The comments were brutal, immediate and prophetic. Where is the government? Why isn't anyone stopping this? This is what abandonment looks like. Those comments weren't random expressions of panic. They were the sound of institutional trust breaking in real time, captured by algorithm and amplified by fear. What actually happened is far worse than any rumour, because it reveals how fragile our systems truly are. The Holloway facility fire was contained within hours. Complete containment. No deaths, no injuries, no structural damage. A faulty electrical wire in a storage room. Mundane, fixable, the kind of incident that happens monthly in cities across Britain. But by then, the narrative had already left reality behind. On Telegram, posts claimed refugees were breaking through gates. On X, accounts alleged armed groups mobilising toward the city centre. On Facebook, a single post, "They're coming. This is it. They're coming to the city centre," was shared 40,000 times in exactly 15 minutes. Screenshot it, share it, comment on it. None of it was true. All of it was believed by people terrified and scrolling in the darkness of metro tunnels. The crowd outside Holloway didn't form because people were inherently violent. It formed because people were genuinely scared. They'd been told something was happening. They believed it. And the government's response to this crisis: silence, complete silence for 2 solid hours, while millions of Brits watched their second largest city appear to collapse on live stream. While "Where is the government?" exploded across social media, while families called each other asking if the city was safe. Westminster didn't even convene a meeting. At 2:26 p.m, the first physical clash erupted outside the facility gates. Metal barriers buckled under crowd pressure. Police units scattered across the city with only 39 patrol vehicles covering 268 square kilometres. Simply couldn't respond fast enough. Response time 45 minutes when the situation needed 5. What started as shouting became pushing. Pushing became confrontation. Confrontation became the thing viral videos are made of, and viral videos became the primary evidence people needed to believe the country was actually falling apart. 3 groups collided under the Aston Expressway: anti-immigration activists, local residents fed by rumours and months of unaddressed concerns, and a smaller contingent of counter-protesters. No coordination between them, no conspiracy, just 3 groups of scared, angry people in the same place at the same time, unable to leave, unable to communicate. Metal pipes clashed, stones flew, a flare was thrown, turning the underside of the motorway into something from a dystopian film. Drivers passing overhead slowed their cars. They filmed. They shared. The footage went viral before the clash even ended, before anyone involved understood what they'd actually been part of. Then the lorry flipped. A white delivery vehicle trying to reverse away from the crowd clipped a concrete divider. It toppled onto its side with a gut-wrenching screech. Dust exploded into the air. Someone screamed, "It's a bomb!" It wasn't. The radiator burst. Steam released into the hot afternoon. In the harsh daylight, the steam looked exactly like what people expected to see, exactly like what the internet already believed was happening, exactly like proof. Within 60 seconds, the entire narrative shifted. This wasn't a fire at a refugee facility anymore. This was a terror attack. This was the breakdown of law and order. This was the moment Britain's multiculturalism had failed catastrophically. None of it was real. But reality doesn't matter when fear travels 3 times faster than fact and gets amplified by algorithm. Police reinforcements finally arrived at 2:55 p.m, but arrival and de-escalation are different animals entirely. Officers in riot gear pushed methodically through the crowd. Residents saw shields and assumed force was coming. Those in front pushed back defensively. Those behind pushed forward, unable to see what was happening. The crowd crushed inward. A young officer was dragged down near the curb, a bystander, a terrified refugee, not an activist, not a rioter, just a person trying to survive the moment, pulled him to safety and shielded him with nothing but his own body. The officer's body cam captured it. Almost no one saw it. The narrative of division was already written by then. By 3:04 p.m, Midlands police authorised contain and hold tactics. Translation, they gave up on de-escalation and switched to pure damage control. At 3:20 p.m, the situation was officially classified as a potential major incident. Still, Westminster remained silent. The vacuum stayed empty. Then something unexpected shifted the entire story. At 4:32 p.m, an abandoned city bus became a shelter. Strangers, locals and refugees, people on different sides of the narrative, forced the doors open and helped 12 people climb inside to safety. An elderly passenger was coughing violently from the smoke. A man tore off his own jacket to cover her. No one asked where anyone was from. No one asked which side of the narrative they believed. They just saved people. That's what gets forgotten in crisis coverage. Across the city, shopkeepers opened their shutters, not to sell, but to shelter. A bakery on Great Bar Street handed out bottled water to anyone fleeing the chaos. A family from the refugee centre ushered terrified pedestrians into their flat above a convenience shop. When institutions fail, communities actually step in. That's not inspirational storytelling. That's how Britain actually works when systems collapse. At 4:10 p.m, nearly 2 hours after the first report, the government finally held an emergency meeting inside the Cabinet Office. Ministers debated whether this was a national emergency or merely a regional incident. Debate, strategic discussion, risk assessment, while Birmingham burned on live stream, while Where is the Government trended on X with over 2 million mentions. While international media ran headlines like UK city engulfed in daytime crisis, the debate was interrupted by a leaked internal memo, Operation Holdline, do not intervene unless major casualties confirmed. Within 10 minutes, it was on every platform. Screenshots, quotes, analysis. The government's own internal document became evidence of its abandonment. That single memo accelerated the crisis more than any fire or rumour ever could. Because it transformed a local incident into a national scandal. It turned fear into outrage. It made people believe their government had actively chosen to let them suffer. By 5:30 p.m, order was restored. Police presence increased substantially. The crowd dispersed. The fires were extinguished. No major injuries reported. No deaths. The physical crisis was officially over, but the institutional crisis had just begun. The question, where is the government, didn't disappear when the sirens stopped. It became the defining question of the entire day and weeks beyond. Here's what actually happened. A fire triggered misinformation. Misinformation triggered fear. Fear triggered crowds. Crowds triggered police response. Police response triggered physical confrontation. Physical confrontation triggered rumours of escalation. Rumours triggered more fear. And 2 hours of government silence transformed a local incident into proof that the system is fundamentally broken. But here's what matters most. The same systems that failed at Birmingham will fail anywhere this happens again. The same misinformation playbook works identically in Liverpool, Leeds or London. The same institutional silence produces the same cascading results. A divided community can fracture in minutes when no one's communicating, when rumours travel faster than facts, when people genuinely feel abandoned by the institutions meant to protect them. This isn't about one facility or one city. It's about what happens when leadership chooses silence, when silence becomes official policy, when the government's first instinct is containment instead of communication, when people don't know what's true, they believe what feels true. And what feels true right now is that institutions have abandoned them completely. The question Britain faces isn't what happened in Birmingham, it's whether tomorrow's crisis will find better leadership. Will the government learn that silence escalates situations, that communication de-escalates them, that community trust, once broken, takes years to rebuild? Will the next incident be different? The answer starts now. In the comments, in your conversations, in the pressure you put on institutions to respond faster. Tell us, what should the government have done in those first 2 hours? What's the one change that could actually prevent this from happening in the next city? Share your answer in the comments, because viral conversations force institutions to listen. They force change. Subscribe to stay informed as this unfolds, because the next crisis is already brewing somewhere in Britain right now.